Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited. Welcome, International Women's Day and the kickoff of the Women's Woven Voices Project for Front Porch and beyond. Um, International Women's Day, it's a global day celebrating the social, economic, and political achievements of women around the world. It also marks a call to action for accelerating women's equity. And I'm sure we can all get behind that idea. As much as things are pretty darn good, they can always get better. And for some people, there's a long way for them to go to come even close to that. International Women's Day has been around for more than a century. It started in 1911. And even way back then, it was supported by over 1 million people. So today we can only imagine how many hundreds of millions of people are celebrating this day. And it's exciting to be a part of it. So I want to let you know a couple things. Number one, we are recording this. And so everybody knows, and if that's a problem, then turn off your camera, but you might end up on one of the Front Porch YouTube stations or some social media. I hope that that's okay. And we want to promote the project and I think it'll be good. We're having everyone enter into the meeting muted, and after I introduce Brescia and she talks about the project, and then I'll talk about our project, then we're going to have Brescia start going through the steps of actually the hands-on aspects of it. At that point, everyone will be able to unmute themselves if they have a question. And you can also put any questions into the chat and we'll monitor that. If you don't want to talk, that's fine. Whatever makes you happy. And I'm sure that the questions will probably all be answered. And if not, my email is in the chat. You can send any questions to me. Also, if you need a kit or you have a family member or a friend who would like a kit, my email address, you can get it that way. If you're a Front Porch resident, you can ask your life enrichment team and they can get in touch with me. If you're outside of Front Porch, just email me. And I've also put the Front Porch Gallery website into the chat. If you want to jot that down, you can link directly to the Women's Woven Voices project right from the homepage, right from our about page. And also we have a special Women's Woven Voices in our programs page. So, and then I've also put Brescia's Women's Woven Voices project website into the chat as well. So welcome everybody. We have residents, Front Porch residents, we have staff, we have friends and family. We have several people from our sister organization, soon to be part of Front Porch. And we're so excited for all of it. So let's see if I've covered all of those items. I think so. So now with no further lapse, I would like to introduce Brescia Kralovic-Logan. She's the founder of Women's Woven Voices. Brescia is a passionate champion of creativity who has spent the last 40 years helping people of all ages to embrace and express their unique individuality. So Brescia, I'm going to turn it over to you to tell a little bit more about yourself and fully introduce the project. Then we'll come back and I'll tell about the Front Porch project, and then we will jump into the hands-on. So welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Julie. Can everybody hear me okay? Great. I wanted to be sure that you got to see the fabulous tapestry that's behind me, so I didn't want to get too close, but I am so delighted to be here with you today. Happy International Women's Day. Julie, thank you for that great introduction to this special United Nations calling attention to women's accomplishments, but also to their challenges. International Women's Day is the day that this project was conceived. Uh, I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm a textile artist, and a couple of years ago, I was living in Washington, and I had the opportunity to be on a team of women to produce a celebration for International Women's Day. And we put on a conference, and we invited women to come and speak who were doing something really positive in the community. And we thought, hey, you're really shining your light. You're really a cool woman who, you know, we were inspired by. So would you come to our conference and tell your story? And so they did. So we had 6 women speak throughout the day. Oops, I just disappeared. Oh, there I am. I'm so sorry. My computer was ringing. So we had 6 women come and speak to us throughout the day. And at the end of the day, a theme had arisen because 5 out of the 6 women who shared all of their life, or not all of their life story, but much of their life story and many of their accomplishments, also shared that they had been sexually abused throughout their life or in their lifetime. And at the end of the conference, the last speaker said to a room of 300 women, if you have been in some way affected by some kind of gender abuse, whatever it is, and you want to, you know, would you stand up? And as this room of 300 women just stood up, I mean, just the feeling of just everyone rising up and me looking around and thinking, oh my gosh, you know, it's not a secret that this happens all of the time on the one hand, and yet on the other hand, this is so incredibly unacceptable. How can these accomplished women have to have gone through that? So I decided as an artist, that was it. I really wanted to focus my attention on promoting mutual respect, open communication, compassion in the face of you know, the opposite, you know, abuse and inequity and disrespect. And I wanted to be a project that helps women to really feel like they have a voice. Because after that conference, when I started sharing, you know, wow, what had happened at the conference with other women, some women said, I had things happen to me in my lifetime, but I never shared them with anyone. And I also had women say, I don't know anyone who's ever had any of those experiences. So I realized that, you know, that telling your story, sharing with each other, creating an atmosphere of compassionate communication is an important thing for all of us. And so I wanted this project to help women to just feel like their voice matters. And so I started asking women to think about their story. And the project has 3 components. One is reflect on your life and write about it. The second one is to engage artistically in weaving a story cloth of your life. And then 3, sharing. So sharing by chatting with your family, your friends, other people, and if sharing your story if you want, and sharing your art by adding it to the collective tapestry. So that was how the project was conceived. And after that, I just went and, you know, got my daughters and my aunt and my sisters and we started weaving. And then, you know, the pebble was dropped and the ripples started going out. Eventually, soon, it wasn't even eventually, soon I had a nice website and I could start inviting people on a larger scale and started doing workshops. And up to now, I've done workshops with women veterans, with university students, with teens at risk for sex trafficking. I've done workshops with just gatherings of women who wanted to, you know, add their voice to something that promotes compassion. And I've just gotten the word out, and people keep sort of finding the project. Just recently, I had a weaving circle actually last week, and I just wanted to share this. This was wonderful. This young woman came to the Zoom meeting and said that she was on Craigslist and she had seen free loom kits, and she was so intrigued that she contacted the person, and it was someone who had wanted to participate in the project and wanted to make a group of friends, but just found that she was too overwhelmed. And so she had gotten several loom kits and didn't want them to go to waste. And so she'd put them on Craigslist. And so this young woman got them and shared them with her friends, and just now is kind of an advocate up in Washington State for the project, and is sharing the project with other people. So somewhere along there, along the lines, we've connected with Julie and the Front Porch, and now here we are all together. So that's how we got here. And Julie, if you want to jump in next, and then we'll go to the nitty gritty.
I'll jump in, and look what you can see behind me now.
Oh my gosh. What is that?
Those are the story cloths that have been created so far.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sorry about my camera didn't look that great, but they're so beautiful. But I thought it'd be really fun to have a little reveal to show. I think right now I'm guessing we are up to around close to 100.
Wow.
Close to 100. I've got 62 here, and then there's a whole bunch more that haven't come in, and so exciting. So Front Porch, what we're going to do, so I was planning on doing a collaborative weaving project this year with residents, and then when I met Brescia and she mentioned this project, I thought, oh wow, that is fantastic. We can make this a Front Porch wide and beyond, and really be a part of something fantastic. So we are doing our story cloths with our residents, with our staff. We're inviting family, friends, we're inviting community. And I think we have a little bit of all of that on our meeting right now, which is fantastic. And what we're doing is we're all creating our story cloths. They will all come to me, and I'm having they're being manufactured right now, little Front Porch charms that will get put onto everyone to kind of celebrate and commemorate our project as part of the larger project. Then I will get them to Brescia. She then puts them all together, sews them all together to create the tapestry. Mine right now is literally held up with push pins, but you get the idea. So Brescia will be doing that, and then we will be having this as the centerpiece of our Creating Meaning exhibition, which will open in November. And that'll run till the beginning, early January. And then I will take all of these tapestry panels and tour them throughout the Front Porch organization, all of the communities, etc. And then we will join, all of our panels will join the larger project. And you heard that, Brescia, these that get exhibited at women's conferences, and they get exhibited at museums and hopefully the UN, and apparently now we're going for the White House. So right? I say, why not? Why not? So we are if you're a Front Porch resident, all of your life enrichment teams have all of this information. We are working directly with a lot of residents. We've been doing a pilot group for a couple months now, where we're doing meetings twice a week. Those meetings will continue Wednesdays and Fridays at 1 o'clock. You're welcome to come to one. You're welcome to come to both. What we do on those is we have some fantastic conversations where we're using some of Brescia's writing prompts, and people are welcome to do the writing prompts. You'll receive instructions. You can do them in writing, or you can come to the meetings and we just talk. We give responses to the prompts, and it's really great. Everyone's kind of, I think, learning a little bit about their neighbors, their fellow community members from other communities. Their stories are becoming clear. And what I like to say is, you don't have to do that part of it because your story is already in you. So if you want this to be a strict creative project where you pick the colors that you like and you start weaving, it is your story. Whether you're doing the prompts are fantastic and it's a really fun thing to do. But if that's not your cup of tea, that's fine. We still will be thrilled to have you joining for the weaving. Let me see if there's anything else I needed to add. We can provide as many kits as people want, and I really encourage you to, we've got people inviting grandchildren and children and friends, and I've got one person who I think was going to check to see if their granddaughter's Girl Scout troop of some teenage girls might want to jump in. So, anything that you can think of, it's all going to the bigger project. And it's really, really, it's just a really fantastic thing. And I think everyone who's doing it so far is having a really great experience. We'll hear from a few residents a little bit later. But I think what I'll do now is I'm going to turn it back to Brescia, who's going to start doing some hands-on. And at this point, you guys are welcome to either type a question into the chat, or you can unmute yourself and Brescia will be spotlighted. So she'll be able to hear your question without it taking away from people seeing what she's doing. So I'm going to release mine and back to you, Brescia.
Thank you. Vicki, did you have a question?
Well, somebody in chat is having troubles to see all the information that Julie added, and I'm not sure why.
Huh.
She
Well,
can't see it.
you just want to redo that, Vicki? Could you just put in my email address and the Front Porch
Sure.
Gallery website and the Women's Woven Voices, please?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. And so thank you, Julie. So I thought just right now, before we get to the looms, I would just give you a little tour. Right now, I'm sitting surrounded by about 300 individual story cloths from 6 different countries. So I've received story cloths from all over the United States, from Canada, from Australia, from Bulgaria, from Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and we have feelers and connectors out all over the world. But I did want to just give
Brescia, real quick, our project is going to also have people from France, Northern Ireland, Germany, Canada, and I'm working on Australia.
That's fantastic. So I just thought you might visually like to see, let me see if I can do this, that if, what 300 story cloths looks like. So it keeps going. Let's see if I can get all the way to the end. All right, so there. So this is, and I know we're not up too close, but you can kind of just get the vision. You might notice that as the artist, when I sew the panels together, I add a red fringe to the bottom of 3 out of every 4, which is the World Health Organization statistic of women who are affected by some kind of gender inequity. And I do that so that when I'm displaying the tapestry, it becomes a catalyst for conversation about, about how we can promote compassion and mutual respect. So, yeah, so I wanted to say it to share because Julie said, so my dream when I first started the project was that this tapestry would somehow be at the United Nations during the Commission on the Status of Women, which happens every March. And which this year, it will be the 65th Commission on the Status of Women. Women from all over the world come as delegates to the commission. And for 2 weeks, they have meetings and sharings. And when it's in New York, there's parallel events that just are all around. There's the NGO, which is the National Government Organization, CSW forum. And so organizations from all over the world participate. And so that was my dream. New York, baby. I wanted to have this tapestry. I didn't know how, in a hallway somewhere, but I wanted people from all over the world to see it. And this year, because of the pandemic, the entire commission is virtual. So I was able to apply for a booth in a virtual exhibit hall at the NGO CSW. So in a week, the tapestry and project will be shared to anyone who participates in the virtual CSW forum, and hopefully will be viewed by women from all over the world. So when we add on the tapestries from Front Porch, I just was telling Julie before everybody got on the call, I'm gonna connect with Kamala Harris, and I want her to invite me to the White House to bring the tapestry there. So, let's all put that in our dream vision box, so we can share all of it with everyone. Yeah. So, all right. So, how to do this? Well, Julie mentioned the writing prompts, and I just, in case anybody hasn't seen it, they're written here, and the sharing. And I do encourage you, that's just a beautiful way to reflect. And nobody has just one story, right? We have hundreds of stories, but just being able to pick what it is that you want to sort of highlight about your life. And people always ask, so what do I do with the stories? If you share the stories with me, a couple of things can happen. One, you can tell me anything, share the story, and I just hold a sacred space for you. And people can say, can I share that story or not? And if you say no, then just know that it's highly respected. It's been shared, it's been honored, it's been read, and many blessings have been sent to you. If you say I can share it, then I do share snippets of stories whenever I exhibit. And I'm also collecting stories for a possible book at the end of the project. So just so you know. All right, so then you're gonna weave your story cloth. And that's also, there's so many different ways to do that. Some people like to choose colors that they like to do something chronological. So I know that here, I can put you a little bit closer to these. I know that some of these story cloths, people have said, I written out, I was born here, then this happened, and these are my children, this is when I did this, and this is when. So each one of these colors represents for them something very specific about their life story. Other people, and you can just see here, for example, in this one, this was woven with all just one kind of yarn. And I know this person, and she said, I loved thinking about my life while I was weaving, and I just kept thinking, having all these memories pop up, and just thinking of all the blessings in my life. She felt like she didn't have as many challenges as she had blessings, and there she was. She just did it that way, and wanted to add her voice to the collective tapestry. So however you want to do it, I find that people sometimes just pick yarns that they like the colors of, and just start weaving, and it works that way. So let's put together a loom. You've got a loom kit that looks like this. And what you can do right now, if you want to do it along with me, is if you have some string, and this is your warp. And the way that I put it in there, I hope that it won't become tangled. You pull it out, and you'll notice that one end is looped over, and then the other end has the strings. And just a suggestion, there's 5 pieces of warp. So if you just take one and sort of shake it out like this, and just let them hang and just keep shaking, try not to pull too much, you're going to be able to pull them apart without creating knots. So here we have 4 over here, and 1 came out, and there's no knots. And then in your bag, you have some little plastic beads that look like this. And we're going to put the string through there and bring the bead to halfway. halfway, and so that we have the other two ends are together, and in the middle is the bead. And then we're going to take out one straw, and we're going to put the ends of I always have to lick the ends of the string into the straw, and then just push it through. And then you can pull it so that there's the straw, and the warp is coming through the straw, and it's being held on by the bead. So just a little note, I did this kind of weaving with children in the schools for many years. I had a fiber arts education program, and I needed to figure out how to do this the quickest way. If I had 30 kids in a classroom, the easiest way. And so I sort of just developed this, the bead as the first thing that holds the warp into the straw. So there's one, and you have 5 straws in your package. And so you're going to do that again 4 more times. And when you do, you're going to end up with straws with the warp coming out of them, being held by the bead. Okay. And then you're going to come down to the end, just undo this one, and just tie a knot to hold them together. Now, I know that many of you have already done this, and I realize that you're not going to be able to do this in real time with me right now, but just seeing how it's done. So here they are, the 5. Shake those. And then here are the ends, and we just make a little loop like that. Stick the end through. And you do want to leave a few inches at the end, because I'm going to weave those into the bottom of your story cloth. So I need a little bit of extra. All right, so then you end up with something that looks like this. This is a little handheld loom. And to weave on your handheld loom, you're going to need to have your yarns ready. And so I'm going to show you the way to start. And especially if you have never done this before, I like to just, let's set them down. I just like to tie just with a half knot the string onto the end straw so that you have it secured. And you all know that there's some written instructions that Front Porch put together, and also videos, right, Julie?
Yes, I was just going to jump in and say that when you receive a kit, whether you're asking me for one directly or whether you're getting one from Life Enrichment, you will receive instructions on how to set up the loom, how to do the weaving, how to do the finishing. And then you will also receive, as Brisha showed you, the writing prompts.
And then it's just simply this. And let me just do this without. I just like to do it first without any words, so you can just sort of see what's happening with the thread. You're weaving in and out, but I actually sort of think in terms of it kind of coming towards me and away, sort of front and back, because that kind of helps keep the yarn down. Okay. So there you go. And again, I'm not expecting you to just be able to learn this from this exact 1 minute just demo, but Julie has provided all of the support materials that you need. I just want you to be able to sort of see so that you get kind of an idea of it. And then as you weave, you might want to change colors. And I encourage you to. It's a lot of fun to pick the colors, and the ones behind you, Julie, obviously people are rocking that. And you can even weave with 2 colors held together to create, different effects. So I'll do that just. So when you're weaving, people always ask, so do you just tie the ends together? And as a weaver, I always say, no, weaving you don't tie the ends together. If you look at your jeans, you don't see knots in them, where any woven fabric is woven by just simply overlapping And so what I suggest is that when you finish a row and there's a tail over on this side, you take your new weavers, which is called the weft, by the way, and you put those tails on the opposite side and then just weave a row like that so that the yarns overlap, and then you just continue. And I'm heartened by the fact that there's hundreds of people have done this already who have figured this out very easily. So I know that you all will be able to as well. So let me just put that one down. And then the fabric starts to accrue, and you keep the fabric on the straws, but then as you get some, you sort of push it off the straws and let it fall onto the warp, and it'll eventually be pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. And then eventually you'll have woven so much that it'll push all the way down, to the knot at the bottom, and you'll have your story cloth. And it might look like this. This one is changing colors many, many times, and lots of doubled up colors to kind of create a really luscious sort of oceany flavor. And this one is this was a chronological one that someone did, just one color at a time. And so they're all totally acceptable. And when you're all done, as Julie said, we have the special front porch tag that's going to go on. But you can also add doodads, right? Any kind of doodad that you want. I'll put you a little closer over here and see if we can just see some of these things. Anything that just expresses who you are and your story works out really great. I'll just pull some of these a little bit closer. Here we have a ERA now. We have people put jewelry, people put pins, they put natural materials, anything. I just suggest that you stitch it on nice and tight, or use a little piece of wire, because I fold the tapestry up to display it, and so if they're not on, they're really well secured. They can't just kind of glue it on or just hang it casually. Otherwise, it'll just fall off. And
we'll be checking them when they arrive here, so we can, if they need a little zhuzhing, we can do that.
Okay, that's great. And so when you get to the very end, you'll have the knot at one end, you'll have your story cloth, you'll be here, you have your straws. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take the beads like this and cut those off, pull the straws off, and then you will have just this much string that you can then just tie in a knot, and that's good to go, and you can send them to me. So Julie, the ones behind you, are they all knotted at one end and the other?
Yes, they're all knotted on both ends.
Perfect. So then my job is then I take them and I unknot them and weave the ends in, and then we'll stitch them together, crochet the background on, and add the fringe so that they're there to represent you. Are there any questions at this point?
You guys, please feel free to unmute yourselves. I will say, I'm just going to say a couple things, and you can interrupt me if you have a question. One thing is, there are some people that have a little bit of trouble setting up the loom. So don't be afraid to ask for some help on that. Don't let that, if you find that difficult because you have arthritis or something, that we can get you help for that. And but the weaving part also, when I notice when you first start it, it feels a little clumsy in the beginning. And once you get a little bit, maybe like this far in, it becomes really, as Rita said, it looks meditative. It really does become like that. And it's really enjoyable. Also, if you notice when you start, or at any point in it, that you've made a mistake, like you've skipped over some straws, don't worry about it. Just leave it as it is. It's just all part of the story. So now,
Julie, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Questions?
Questions?
Julie, we send them to you?
Yes, everything comes to me. And then we'll be making sure everything's secure on them. We'll be adding the front porch charms. And then I will be getting them to Brescia. Yeah. And I'm going to, as we wait for some other questions to come in, I'm going to bring myself back in so I can show a few of our pieces.
Right.
And
While you're doing that, Julie, I was just going to say that, when you were saying that, it can be a little bit tricky to start, and then it kind of holds itself together, which is nice. And if there's anyone, I send about 35 inches of warp with everyone. But if you want to weave just a little bit and it feels complete, then that's fine. I stitch everything in. And also, if let's say you have you do your story and there's still some warp left, you can have your daughter or your your partner or your anybody that you want to just kind of include. They can add in, so you can do community ones if you would like.
absolutely.
So there's lots of this is not the strict rule thing. It's very open.
We're not into rules for our creativity. So I would like to read what Kitty, who's on the call with us, Kitty, and I have also been encouraging people to, if possible, send me at least one little bit of writing. And if you're doing, some people are doing multiple pieces, they don't have to do it for everyone, but they certainly can. So from Kitty, she says, and then I'll show you her piece. We are all a tapestry of our lives and family, friends and experiences. I had planned to have 76 sections for my 76 years, but when I really compressed them toward the end, I needed more to get to, and I think she said she got to get to the 36 inches. So she thinks there are now 94, a number she does not aspire to, but I'm trying to convince her she should. And some years bring back more memories than others. I was lucky to have wonderful parents adopt me. Father had been shot down and mother had a breakdown thinking of raising me without him. She was around 5 months pregnant. And in 1944, the war was raging. Luckily, she went to the Children's Bureau in Norfolk to see if she could put me up for a private adoption. And my Aunt Jody, assistant manager, told her that her brother and his wife would be so happy to have me. My lucky day. Had a great life with them and really lucky all my life. Each section could tell amazing stories. Thank you, Kitty. Kitty, I'm going to just, Kitty, do you want to come on as I show this? I can add you to the spotlight if you like.
Sure. I just wanted to add that I love, mine's the messy one. So whoever was asking about how you do a messy one, this is the way you do it.
Yeah.
But I love the raggedy feel. Yeah. And also I wanted to add that I support Women's Resource Center for us here from Carlsbad by the Sea. And it's so sad that it's so necessary. They're even counseling in high school for little girls who are being attacked and such these days. But I think it's so important, and it's a very vital organization if anyone wants to just know offhand one that they could support. I think most areas have a women's resource center where they protect abused women.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Kitty.
And you can see Kitty did add some fun silver charms.
I'm a silver person.
She's a silver person. Thank you, Kitty, and thanks for telling us about that as well. And let's see, now I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to, Susan Mueller isn't with us, but she wanted me to show hers and read to you, and then she'll be on our 1 o'clock meeting. So this is Susan's. She also added some doodads. We've got a bunny and a butterfly and a book and a bird's cage. And this is what she wrote. Look at the gorgeous card that she wrote it in. I don't know if you could see that.
Oh gosh.
My first story weaving was in bright primary colors expressing joy. This story weaving is in soft colors representing peace and charms bringing peaceful thoughts of enjoyment. Isn't that lovely?
Beautiful. I'm going to anticipate a question, and that is that I know that many of you have access to yarn, but you can weave with many different anything that that has a string like feel. So there's people who have used cut up fabric, ribbon, rickrack, embroidery floss, horsehair, leather, plastic. So, don't feel like you have to be limited to the yarn. It's absolutely fabulous. The yarn is fine. But if you have other creative materials that you want to use, please feel free.
Eleanor, I'm going to spotlight you so you can show us, because she's a perfect example of that. Hi, Eleanor.
I mean, fabric.
Great. Oh, I love it. Yes.
This spring, and I've added butterflies. I've added,
Yeah, I love it.
and this is printed material, so it just adds texture.
And how have you been enjoying the process of this and our Zoom meetings, and what do you think about it?
I just really like it a lot. It's very nice.
Thank you.
And the reason I had a lot of fabric is because I made scarves and I used this fabric with yarn. So it works with yarn also. And then I just finished this one of all the seasons, starting with spring, summer, fall, winter. And I put the holidays in there, like I use material for Halloween and leaves.
That's fantastic.
Eleanor, that's fantastic. That was really kind of a precursor to this project. When I was working with children about 10 or 15 years ago, we did a project for the Alzheimer's Association, and I had 4 different classrooms, and each classroom wove a season. And the kids were learning about their grandparents' stories. So each child that participated was supposed to interview their grandparents and just, find out who they were and hear some stories from them. And then we wove 4 panels: winter, spring, summer, fall, and it ended up as a sort of a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. So you're channeling the origins of the project.
Awesome. Thank you, Eleanor. Robin, I'm going to look for you, Robin, so I can spotlight you, and I'm going to show your piece as you, where are you? Let me find you here. As you read what you wrote, which is so wonderful. Let's see, we've got a good crowd here, and I can't find her, so I'll move on. I'm going to read from Martha Convery, who I think is going to join us at 1 o'clock. She's from Casa de Mañana. She writes, "I love our American flag. I love our democracy. Please be careful. A democracy is fragile and requires love, appreciation, respect, cooperation, stability, pragmatism, continuity, possible goals, and resilience." She knew that her story was about being from a military family, and she wanted to express that. Here is her story cloth. Red, white, and blue with fantastic sequin stars. Isn't that great?
Yes.
So great. And then let me see.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Rita wrote, she wanted to know what the string is that goes through the straws, because she might want to make her own.
Oh.
And maybe other people would want that too.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. It's just string. I mean, it's literally just string, and it can be any kind of string. I buy big cones of string from Smart and Final because I'm making hundreds of kits. But you can just get a ball of string from. It's nice to have something that isn't flexible. So rather than using yarn that has a little pull to it, So, but if you have just some cotton string, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's package twine.
Yeah, you can use twine if you want, yeah, but
Or just simple string.
a simple string. It's
Yeah. You
Gotta
don't,
be sturdy though.
yeah, something sturdy, because you want it to be able to last. Yeah.
so I'm gonna show you this one. This was created by Clarita
Look at this.
at Carlsbad by the Sea.
That is so fun.
She's a super creative individual and had the idea. She's really into nature, of doing a tree. Actually, she's done 3. And she found this. I don't have this particular yarn, so if you're getting a kit from me, it's not going to have this yarn. But this is this super curly yarn, which is what just weaving the same way, and then she's added little butterflies on. So really fantastic.
Julie, can you hold that up again? So she has the ground, the trunk, and the sky.
And the sky.
Yeah, the sky, the ground, the trunk. Oh my gosh, that's
And they're all, one of them is hanging. Can you see that? It's
Oh, I
got
do
a
see it.
larger
Yeah,
sky.
yeah.
Yep. And so they're all, they're not exactly identical, but they're all super cool. Okay, and then I would like to, I'll go ahead because let me just take one quick look and see if, because Robin was here, so I don't know if she, oh, Robin, there you are. Robin, I'm going to spotlight you. Are you,
Yeah.
Robin, can you read what you wrote while I show your piece?
Yes, let me get it for you.
And just be sure to speak up, please.
Okay, mine is called Mother Earth, inner core, outer core, mesosphere, anistherosphere, lithosphere, mantle, crust, topsoil, sunrise, plants, animals, Homo sapiens, clouds, rain, lightning, thunder, rainbows, sunsets, stars, planets, galaxies, cosmos. This I say to you, red, white, and blue, Mother Earth, I do love you.
Fabulous. Thank
And
you.
Robin, can you include a copy of that poem somehow?
Oh, I've got it.
Okay.
Yes, Julie has it, and yeah.
Yep, I'm asking for, and then just keeping all of the writing. So we'll be passing those all along to you. Thank you, Robin. Fantastic, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and remove your spotlight.
I'm going to anticipate another question. So these are some questions that people have asked before. So one, people have asked why 5 straws, and I just picked 5 because it's the most comfortable for most people. You can do this on 3 straws, 4 straws, 5 straws, 6 straws. If you can hold 7 in your hand, you could do them, do that way. But the 5 was just a nice, happy medium. People also ask why there's an extra bead in the kit. And that is because in my experiences working with children for all those years, of all the materials, people open their kit and then one bead rolls underneath the dresser. And I thought, let's just solve that from the beginning. I'm going to put 6 beads in every kit. But I've had many people find a fun way to incorporate that extra bead. So oftentimes I get them in the mail and I find that someone has put that little extra bead, just tied it on somewhere, or even all of the beads onto their weaving so that they get reused that way. I'm also going to anticipate this. I used the plastic straws because they were very lightweight for me to mail, because I mail them all over the place, and very sturdy. And I tried several different kinds of paper straws and they didn't hold up. But I recently have found a new kind of paper straw that's pretty thick, and I'm in the process of beta testing it. And if it works and it holds up for me, then I'm going to try making some kits with paper straws, and send them out to sort of a beta group to see if they will work, so that people can compost them or recycle them. So I just wanted to anticipate those questions.
Fantastic. Hey, Maggie.
Yeah.
Maggie, do you want me to spotlight you, and do you want to say anything about, you've been doing so much with the project? Do you want to? Let me see where I found you. I had you there. I was looking right at you. Everyone kind of keeps moving around. If I can get you back.
I'm here. I'm okay.
You're okay. All right. So do you want to say something or not?
Well, I did want to talk about one of my strips that I did weave.
Please.
Yes,
And
that through my life as a single parent for 8-9 years, we had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of political problems with getting loans and getting food and getting help. And so as I wove this, I took a plain color and then I added white with it. And it kind of looked like a bump in my life as we went around and met all the challenges as a single parent. And so that was kind of nice reminiscing, because my boys want to know, where were we? How many times did we move? And so as I was doing that and realizing how many bumps there were, well, it kind of got me to thinking about how lucky and how blessed I am in my life. Yeah. Is that mine?
it is.
Oh.
Yep. I was looking around trying to find one. I think I've got
one of the amazing, oh, Brescia, it's addictive. I go out down into the manor, because I'm out here in the villas. I go down into the manor and people are carrying their kits around with them. Looking, I got a problem. And so just impromptu, we just sit down and a couple of us will start doing it. And then the next thing we know, we got a group of 3 or 4 sitting around doing. So it has just done tremendous wonders here with helping people through their.
Whoops.
And I'm just thankful to be a part of all of that.
Oh, finally your picture came back. So then everyone gets to see you real quickly.
Thank you.
And
Oh, sure.
thank you.
So-
Maggie, I have to give a shout out because she's at Sunnyview up in Cupertino. Been so fantastic in getting people involved and helping people. And we're trying to take a little bit of that load off by getting some others more involved. But thank you. You've been so generous with that, and it's much appreciated. Really is. And we have a good time on our Zoom meetings, don't we?
Well, I want to make sure that there aren't any more questions, Julie.
Any questions, you guys?
Don't be shy. Anything?
If you have a kit and haven't set it up yet, and you want to come back at 1 o'clock, you might set it up in the meantime. And
Julie?
yes.
Question.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, Rachel, on this. How do you attach the strips?
Can you speak a little louder?
So what Beth is asking is, so how do you put the 2 strips together? Do you have to sew it, or how do you attach?
Brescia sews them together.
How?
Oh, how are you sewing them together, Brescia?
You know, I have a very, very strong acrylic yarn, and I use a tapestry needle, and I lay the strips together, and I go back and forth, and just stitch them right up. So they're held together, you know, pretty securely. So that's how I do it.
Thank you.
And then I don't know if you can see, but so I do them in panels because they get very heavy. There's, you know, when I get about 25, they're not, each panel's not exactly the same, but you know, when I get about 25 of them and all the embellishments, they're very heavy, and I want them to be able to be displayed. I have them on these little copper rods. I don't know if you can see this copper rod. And they're on these stands that just, so I can pop it up anywhere. So I've been able to pop up this exhibit at community events and at schools and at university, all different places. And so I have to be able to transport it. So I do it in panels, and I just crochet up at the top. On the other side is a little crocheted sleeve that I stick the pole through. So it's all very simple, actually, but I'm working on one now. Let's see, where is that? It's just over to the side, but it now has about 16 story cloths in it. And I'll just keep going until it gets to be about 4 feet wide. And then I'll start a new one. So.
Fantastic. Any other questions?
Maggie?
Brescia, in helping several work, one of the biggest problems that we have when we're over in our room all by ourselves and we don't want to stop and we keep going, that I think you need to emphasize, do not move everything off of your straws.
Oh, okay. Good.
Because that's kind of an ongoing big problem. Because then it's so difficult to start over again.
Yeah.
There's nothing that holds the straws together. So this is one of the things that we've been trying to overcome is moving everything off of the straws.
Thank you for saying that, Maggie, just so that people here on the call will hear that. Keeping the weaving on is what holds the straws together. However, if it does go off, you just keep going. So, for example, if it did get pushed down, then, your straws are all wobbly again, but then you just keep going and you're fine. So it's not, it doesn't that big of a glitch in the giddy up. It's just harder. So
with arthritis in the hands, it's very, very difficult. So a lot of the kits I start myself, put yarn on there. So, because it's kind of hard. Yeah.
That's you're right. You're right. Thank you.
Anything else, you guys?
Linda, did you have a question? At one point, I thought maybe you were leaning forward for a question. No?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
Julie,
Yes.
Beth has another question.
Yes.
I was going to suggest that people, if they're setting their straws up, that they not put two straws of the same color side by side, because sometimes it helps you figure out whether you've got your yarn around which one.
So you're saying don't put two colors of the same color straw next to each other just because it makes it a little bit easier to see in between.
Yeah.
Have a little contrast. Yep, I agree. That's great. The great tip.
I do have to say, I randomly, I have the straws in a little bin, and I grab a handful. I get 5, and I stick them in the bag. So, as far as the color of the beads or the colors of the straws, it's all very random because
and that's
hours just trying to put the kits together. So people do ask me that all the time. What do the colors mean? Or they don't mean anything.
Yeah, they're just colors.
However, I do want to encourage you, if you can, some way, if you can incorporate the beads in something or pass them along, the straws. You can try putting them into the recycling. They're plastic, so I am very, very conscious of the fact that they are plastic, and so any kind of reuse or recycle that you can do, I really appreciate.
Sunnyview has another recommendation.
Well, I would like your recommendation on how to hold those straws spaced properly without, get your thumb over there, all those kind of little tidbits of maneuvering. Oh, I could have taken this down. She's having trouble with it. Do you have suggestions on how to hold the straws so they're placed nicely?
Do I have,
So did you get that, Brisha?
would you help me?
So I think what you're asking is do you have tips on how to hold the straws so it's a little bit easier? And I think I've heard you say before, you kind of hold them like it's a deck of cards, like you're playing cards.
Yeah. You know, first of all, I guess one of the things that comes up sometimes is because when people are right-handed, they automatically hold their straws in their right hand. But I hold my straws in the left hand so that I can do the weaving with the right hand. So that may or may not help for people. And then, you know, just holding them down sort of towards the bottom. And that kind of gives them a natural way of kind of flaring out like that. And you can just use the top little part of the straws to weave with. You know, you can actually hold them halfway, you know, because you only need a little bit of part way to weave, and then you sort of just push them down. And I did think of another, I don't know if I can show you with this one. Let me just weave a couple more rows. But I think of another hint that I do say on my videos, but I don't know that I emphasize it. Some people weave a little tighter than others, although, you know, I encourage you to just breathe and let it be very meditative and relaxing. But I do, sometimes people do weave quite tightly and they have a difficult time pushing the fabric down. And my suggestion for that is that you hold on to the fabric and pull the straws up.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
And that makes it super easy, but just go very slow and be careful because you don't want to pull the straws, you know, you don't want to pull the weaving completely off. But when you get it a little tight, and Maggie, when you're helping people, if it's a little tight and you're having trouble pushing it down, especially if there's lots of, so then just hold on to the fabric part and just gently pull up on the straws. Okay, so that's a hint for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good idea.
I don't know if it helps the person from Sunnyview very much, but.
I came down here instead of staying in my room. I joined the group.
Are we good? Is any other questions before we head off? And you know, everyone is welcome to join on the 1 o'clock. You can also email me, jweaverling@frontporch.net. Winnie, I just got your email address, so I will email that info to you. And I think we've done it.
I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to gather. I'm so excited to add your voices to the tapestry, and so delighted to be pairing with you all for this project. And so many thanks to Julie for coordinating all of it. And happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day, everyone. And we'll see you at 1 o'clock, or we'll see your story cloths. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.